Well, good afternoon, Wan Shang Hao, Salamat Batang. Can I get a wave of hands if you can hear me clearly? Just testing the audio here. Fantastic, thank you. So good afternoon. On behalf of my colleagues Amanda and David Lim and I, we're going to share with you what we've learned from our most demanding enterprise customers about how they have successfully accelerated migration of critical workloads to AWS. Good afternoon, I'm David Payne, and it's my responsibility to help our customers across the region with enterprise applications and databases, including SAP, Oracle, and our own Amazon databases. We're going to talk about 4 key workloads in this session and share with you patterns of adoption and best practices. And the 4 key workloads in order will be SAP Oracle, then VMware, and then Windows. First, SAP. If you're an SAP customer, by now I'm sure you heard about SAP S/4HANA. And between now and 2025, SAP customers need to make a strategic decision about the future of their applications. And SAP customers who've moved to S/4HANA like the benefit of simplification, they like the lower TCO, and they like the idea about being a real-time enterprise. But existing SAP customers, well, they've got other considerations, and they're concerned about customizations, complexity, and the architecture and the rigidity built into many legacy systems. It's our responsibility at AWS, together with SAP, to help customers cross this chasm with fewer consequences and fewer compromises. And for that reason, we've aligned with SAP on a 360-degree strategy. SAP has been a customer of AWS since way back in 2008, and we've been global technology partners since 2011. And the scope of collaboration with SAP, well, it's ever expanding, and now SAP Concur, SuccessFactors, Ariba, and more, they all run in part on AWS. And as an SAP customer, you can embrace their vision of the digital core and deploy S/4HANA, that's the contemporary version of the ERP and more, on AWS. But not every customer is ready for that just yet. And for that reason, as a customer, you can continue to run ERP on your choice of relational database and then move to the digital core when you're ready. SAP customers will continue to extend and innovate around the digital core, and we're aligned with SAP on their cloud platform. It's their platform as a service. And then finally, this 360-degree strategy is enabled by a community of AWS and SAP partners. There are now thousands of enterprises running hundreds and hundreds of production workloads in AWS, and they represent all industries and all flavors of applications, platforms, and databases. And leaders in Southeast Asia, including Ayala Land, and Dahome, and Singha, and Conception, and Petronas Lubricants, and Zalora, and Fair Price, and more, have all successfully migrated or deployed SAP in AWS. Together with Intel, AWS has designed and SAP has certified a range of EC2 instances that specifically meet the demanding needs of SAP HANA customers. The assortment of EC2 instances includes virtualized instances, and these are available up to 4 terabytes, and dedicated hosts, currently including 6, 9, and 12 terabytes. On a scale-out configuration, you can deploy an analytic workload like BW for HANA all the way out to 100 terabytes, and these instances are available pay-as-you-go and on demand. But also, using a scale-out of S for HANA and our new dedicated hosts, you can deploy all the way to 48 terabytes. Now, let me point that out. If you're an SAP wonk, you probably know what this means, but scale-out of S for HANA, that is a game changer. And we announced just 3 weeks ago support for scale-out of S/4HANA all the way to 48 terabytes using our dedicated hosts. But every customer, they want to start small and scale up and scale out according to their project requirements. Customers have universally told us that they've been able to create and derive value beyond core infrastructure. And SAP customers have been able to improve their operations and simplify operations through automation. Throughout the life cycle of an SAP application, automation is possible, from planning through operations. A simple example is GE has deployed multiple applications, including SAP on AWS, and they were able to reduce their incidence of P1 and P0 outages. And that's the result of better and more frequent testing. Customer Del Monte Pacific engaged Accenture to complete a very complex transformation and migration around SAP and to AWS. And through automation, Accenture was able to accelerate the time to delivery from an initial estimate of 7 months to 3.5 months. And frankly, it's not often that we hear SAP and completed early in the same sentence. Customers have also told us that we've been able to help them migrate with confidence. The chart behind me shows an illustration of the Gartner 6 R's for migration. And one of the most interesting migration strategies for SAP customers is around replatforming. Today, using the SAP Rapid Migration Test Program, you can take a copy of your production data from ECC, export it and convert it to SAP HANA, deploy that on AWS, and this will take around about 40 hours and maybe about $1,000 in AWS billing, according to the experience of the early adopter customers. And so if you're unsure about HANA and you want to know that a migration is going to work, then I'd encourage you to evaluate this program. But that's not the only migration path, and together with our partners, we can help you navigate all of your migration options. Our customers have been running all variety of SAP applications, databases, and platforms on AWS, and they've been lowering costs and improving operations. But increasingly, customers are innovating using advanced technologies around the digital core. And AWS, together with our partners, has devised a number of solution accelerators and patterns for innovation and extension. And these include artificial intelligence and machine learning, profiling of data, including PII, doing analytics in new and different ways with big data and data warehousing, IoT, and end-user productivity. So great scope to extend and innovate using AWS around the digital core. And for this reason, we are also aligned with SAP on their strategy for SAP Cloud Platform. That's their platform as a service. The SAP Cloud Platform Cloud Foundry Edition is available in Asia Pacific, and it's available exclusively in AWS regions in Asia Pacific, including here in Singapore. We think that customers will deploy a hybrid architecture using both AWS native services and SAP Cloud Platform for these extension use cases, just like Broad Spectrum. And Broad Spectrum is just one example of a customer that is getting great results with SAP on AWS. If we consider the experience of the customers whose names you see behind me, and you can consider the 4 key value drivers in our cloud economics framework. Cost savings is clearly an important factor. And consider the experience of Petronas Lubricants. By rationalizing from 9 disparate ERP systems to SAP S/4HANA on AWS, they've been able to improve their business processing, but also they've done it at a 50% lower TCO than would have been possible on premise. Customers, including Sumitomo Chemicals, have shared that they've been able to improve the productivity of IT staff. Where previously different functions were separated, they've been able to combine skills and empower individuals. Customers have also improved their operational resilience. Consider the experience of Mitsui Coal, who previously had only an 85% uptime for their ERP system on premise. Since moving to AWS and S/4HANA, they're achieving 4 nines. And consider the experience of customers like LTI, who are getting great results with S/4HANA on AWS and business agility. They have close alignment now of business value, expenditure, and value for customers. And finally, industry analysts, including ISG, have recognized that AWS offers the leading platform amongst all choices for customers of SAP HANA. And in addition to our platform leadership, ISG have assessed that the prescriptive advice we give to customers about complex migrations is valuable. So let's talk about Oracle. You know, it's rare for us to meet a customer in enterprise that wants anything other than, well, better with Oracle. And about 2 years ago, you know, Oracle effectively doubled the price of their software for customers who would choose to deploy on AWS or Azure for that matter. And who does that to their customers? And why would they do that? And for this reason, there's never been a better time to seek database freedom. And customers are seeking database freedom commercially and technically. And they want to take advantage of new architectures, new technologies, and they want to take advantage of practically limitless scale of storage and data. So let's consider some patterns of adoption. Together with the independent Oracle user group in North America, we conducted a survey late last year. And you know, now around about a quarter of all enterprise data is stored in a public cloud, according to the survey. But that means that still around about 71% is on-premise. But 50% of customers in this survey have already started to deploy and migrate databases into the cloud. These are new projects, sure, but also they are increasingly migrations, and they are core enterprise applications. The customers that have moved, well, they're getting some great benefits. They're able to scale better, they're getting improved TCO, and they're also getting benefits of better infrastructure management. But they have reported some challenges, and customers are reporting that connectivity, tuning, and skills are the challenges that they've faced. And therefore, it looks like hybrid architectures will be the go-to for databases and enterprise systems in the cloud. So AWS has lots of great options for Oracle customers. For sure, you can continue to run your choice of an Oracle database on AWS, but increasingly we see customers migrating from Oracle to Amazon databases. Customers are also refactoring and re-hosting their Fusion middleware applications, and customers can lift and shift their packaged Oracle applications like Siebel, PeopleSoft, Oracle eBusiness Suite, Demantra, and more to AWS. We've also got solutions for customers who need Java and JDKs, for people who want to do analytics in new and different ways, moving from, say, Exadata to Redshift, people who want to build data lakes, and who also want to do artificial intelligence with solutions like Forecast and Personalize. In the past, practically every data challenge had the solution of a relational database, and that's still a common scenario for packaged applications like ERP, but today we have so many more different data types and therefore so many different options. And if your use case is something a bit like e-commerce, where you have enormous transaction volumes and you need incredible performance, then perhaps a key value store is the right solution for you. If you're doing real-time analytics, then probably in-memory is a good solution for you. If you have an application like, say, social media, and you've got billions of data relationships, then probably a graph database is a great option for you. And then finally, in this example, say you're doing something with IoT and you need to track time series, then a time series database might be great for you. We also now see increasing interest in customers who have a use case around immutable databases and something which is auditable, and hence ledger databases. So AWS believes in, well, we believe in the right tool for the job. And AWS purpose-built databases are fully managed database services for your choice of use case and your choice of technology. The fully managed databases come with an SLA. We take care of patching, auto-scaling, backup, and more. The range of databases includes relational and non-relational. And in relational, you have a choice of either community or commercial or Amazon databases. And the Amazon databases are MySQL and Postgres compatible, but you get the resilience and the performance and scalability of commercial, but actually at only about the 10th of the cost. Now, database migrations, they're never fun, but thankfully they are getting easier. And Amazon customers have migrated now more than 120,000 databases to AWS, and they're using a combination of the database migration service and the schema conversion tool. So the database migration service allows for both the continuous replication and also one-time migration of your data. But if you have a heterogeneous use case and you're going to change your schema, then I'd encourage you to use the schema conversion tool. The schema conversion tool is free to download and free to use. The database migration service is pay as you go, pay for what you use. And you know, one of the most demanding AWS customers who's been very successful with database migration is, well, it's Amazon.com. And business as usual for Amazon.com just wasn't an option. Amazon.com has an enormous scale challenge, and previously there were more than 5,000 databases, including many, many Oracle systems, and we had all manner of challenges with sharding, with scale, performance, and management, and business as usual just wasn't an option because costs were increasing 10% year on year. We have now migrated more than 5,000 databases, more than 88% of our Oracle workloads to Amazon databases. That's more than 50 petabytes of storage, and the results have been really encouraging. We have been able to lower our database costs by about 50%, and we've improved the performance and latency by about 40%. And our point of view is, if an organization as large and complex as Amazon can do this, can you? And so folks, there's never been a better time to seek database freedom. So thanks for your attention. I'm going to introduce now my colleague, David Lim, and he's going to share with us about VMware Cloud on AWS.
Thank you, David. Cheers. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a great summit today. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. I'm actually going to go through VMware Cloud on AWS, and that's, you might have seen the session this morning from Kit Colbert, but I'll touch on a few other things here, and it'll be a very brief overview. But if you don't know about VMware Cloud on AWS, this will be a very interesting session. So this is a slide from Gartner, but we see many slides from Forrester, IDC, many analysts, and it's really about your environments, the way you're running your environments now. You've certainly got on-premise, and there's no doubt that you're starting to, or you may already have workloads in the cloud, or starting to think about it. And so, you know, the analysts are really telling us that by 2021, 22, 70, 80, or 90% of you will have hybrid environments. But there are some challenges, and there are some things that you really want sorted out before you start to do that. You want to have the best of both worlds, but you want it secured. You want to be able to manage it from the similar portal or same portal. You want to be able to leverage your investments and your skill sets. And so our customers were talking to us and saying, we've got very big investments of VMware. It's been around for 20 years. It works. We've got skill sets. All of our applications, our key core applications, our enterprise data centers are running on VMware. And so we got together a couple of years ago with VMware and we announced this partnership. And if you think about 3 or 4 years ago, we were bitter enemies in the field. VMware was building out vCloud Air and looking to build a public network as well. They obviously divested in that vCloud Air, and together with VMware, we're now putting together VMware Cloud on AWS. One of the big things about VMware Cloud and AWS is the opportunities that we've brought to yourselves, being the customer base, is being able to have the locations in AWS availability zones. And you can see from the map behind me that we've been pretty busy over the last year and a half and rolled out quite a few availability zones or regions, covering several availability zones in each of those regions. And as mentioned this morning by Kit, we've just launched Singapore. I think one of the opportunities here is that, you know, by the end of this year, we'll have all of our APAC or APJ covered, as well as the rest of the clouds that we wanted to grow in the US around GovCloud. So I'm going to sort of just give you a quick overview of what VMware Cloud is. And I could ask you to raise your hands, but I'm guessing there's probably 70 or 80% of you in the audience that use VMware right now. So if you look at VMware and what you're doing in your environment, on the left-hand side of the diagram, this is your typical VMware environment where you've certainly got vSphere. You'll have the opportunity of either using vSAN or NSX. vSAN for your storage and NSX for your networking. One of the great things here is that you're running your own environments, or you've got a partner running your environment. You've got your critical workloads working in there. You've got skill sets already in your organization. What we've done is we've actually allowed VMware to place their hypervisor on AWS bare metal. And so through the vCenter console, the console that you're so familiar with, whether it could be vCenter Ops, vRealize, you're now able to move workloads seamlessly and without disruption to the business in real time through vMotion and vSphere replication, and not just by one or two VMs, but by hundreds and thousands of them at a single time to move those applications over to AWS. So the VMware Cloud on AWS runs on AWS bare metal, servers that we developed for VMware, our Nitro servers, specifically so that they could run their software-defined data center on AWS platform. And what's that mean? Well, it means we've very much become an engineered partner with VMware. And we're tying our services in very tightly with VMware. We're directly linking our direct connect, building out servers where we can detach the storage and the compute, and then have our EVS or Elastic Block Store storage added as well. This is not just a paper partnership or a marketing partnership. We're very, very much ingrained. And to think about the announcements that we made last November at reInvent with RDS, now on VMware, on-premise. Outposts will be coming later this year. Infrastructure that will run VMware Cloud on AWS. These are pretty significant announcements from AWS, and it just goes to prove the underlying partnership that we put in with VMware around deeply engineering our services on a VMware cloud within AWS's data centers. One of the things that the customers are really enjoying is that there are a lot of AWS customers out there, and now that we're putting our workloads or your workloads in VMware Cloud and AWS, we've now got a 25 gigabit elastic network interface that ties straight into our VPNs or VPCs. That means that you can move data without latency and data at no cost. That's a fantastic opportunity, and one of the areas that a lot of our customers are really pivoting on and starting to drill down in conversation to learn more about. And if you currently have AWS services into your on-premise applications, you may want to think about moving those applications to VMware Cloud on AWS in our data centers. So what are some of the use cases that we're seeing? There's 4 primary ones that have started to come out. And believe it or not, the major one that we're seeing, certainly across the US, EMEA, and now in ANZ since we launched last year, is cloud migrations, or what we're terming as data center evacuations. Customers realizing they've got a data center renewal coming up in 6 to 8 months, they've got a hardware refresh, they've run out of, they've got CapEx issues, they want to convert to OpEx. This is a fantastic opportunity for those customers to start looking at how they can alleviate those pressures and reduce that risk and move their workloads to VMware Cloud and AWS. The next one, which we're seeing is very popular, is data center extensions. So, for instance, dev test environments, being able to burst in 2 hours to set up a software-defined data center on AWS, do your dev and test and shut it down. Build up a production environment, test it, move it back bidirectionally, so from AWS back into your own on-premise and shut it down. And of course, capacity expansions. Today, I'm sure that many of you who run VMware run at 40, 50, maybe 65, 70% utilization max. You have to have a ceiling there for that capacity when you're going to use it in peak times. If you can start to imagine that you can set up an environment in 90 minutes to 2 hours, and therefore you could run your on-premise at 80 or 90% capacity, how much more utilization could you get out of your on-premise? Disaster recovery is another one. That's where customers really, I guess, delve first. In many instances, they want to test the DR, they want to talk about how they can build out a DR environment, because typically a lot of customers don't have a good strategy around that or sustainable environments that de-risk that issue. And then transformation. Next generation applications. You might want to put your database in VMware Cloud and AWS so that you're inside the data center and you can leverage products like Redshift, Kinesis, or RDS. All of these are possible now, and conversations you can have that you couldn't have before. So as I said, we developed the server with our Nitro server with VMware in mind, and VMware then started to build out on their NSX capability through our Direct Connect, they really started to look at how they could do hybrid cloud connect, and this is the real, I guess, source in the secret sauce in the opportunity for VMware Cloud and AWS. It allows you to build out through vSphere replication your mirror image of your existing environment, test it, network it, and then through vMotion to move hundreds or thousands of VMs at a time. And to give you an idea about how some of this is working, customers are really looking at workloads like Oracle, SAP, or SQL Server. And they want to be able to do it quickly. They want to have consistent operations. They don't want to have to refactor or re-architect. And they also want to have, I guess, as I mentioned, leveraging the AWS services. So once they're in the AWS data center, then reaching out through APIs very quickly. We've got a growing customer base. We've been operational now from the US through to EMEA and now into APAC for the last 18 months. And a lot of customers are starting to realize benefits. And they're starting to see that the opportunities around having a conversation they've never been able to have before, and that is, how can we move quickly? How can we move at speed? How can we get something from on-premise and into the cloud without having to reskill or to refactor or to re-architect? And if I drill down into a couple of these, Lansing is one company in the US. It's a trading company. It trades in grain and media. And they actually had about a third of their environment left that they needed to create a DR environment for. So testing the waters, they put a DR environment in VMware Cloud and AWS. While they were testing the DR environment, they found that it operated and ran more efficiently than their production environment. And so they proceeded to then swap that out, or swap over production for the DR environment on VMware Cloud and AWS. And that's a significant, I guess, uplift because they weren't expecting that. And so there's another benefit there that, the platform that you're getting from VMware is a managed platform. It's always updated. It's always on the latest versions. It's always patched. And so you're going to get the benefit of that from the latest versions of all the vSphere, vSAN, and NSX. Black Mountain, again, another one of our customers, 380 VMs in 20 days. I mean, that's fast. That's unheard of, breakneck speed. And that's just fantastic, be able to move workloads at speed to the cloud. And the last one, PHH Mortgage, I know Kit touched on this one this morning, 350 VMs in 3 days. Massive workloads. I think one of the most important things here is this slide, and I think it helps you understand that while you're doing workload migration and transformation, it takes a period of time, and there will be inherent costs around running two platforms, having consultancy up front, that extra labor to do the re-architecting and re-platforming. And many customers going on that journey now, and that's where we're helping, and through our partners, helping many of our customers. I guess what VMware Cloud on AWS does is quite simply, it reduces that time that the bubble's there, the cost bubble, because you can close down your data center very quickly. You can remove that CapEx inhibitor. You can move those workloads to the cloud very quickly. And if you think about having those workloads on VMware Cloud and AWS, if you were going to transform or refactor some of those applications, you can continue to do so, but you're actually in the data center now where you can put those applications that you're not going to refactor or re-architect to leverage the AWS services. And this is a really important factor for our customers. So I just wanted to finish off. We have collateral that we can make available to you if you want to build a business case within your business. In conjunction with Deloitte, we created this paper. This is something that a lot of businesses have been asking us about. Our customers saying, well, how do I frame up the discussion? How do I go up line to look at how we can build out a business case to justify the move to VMware Cloud? And even Gartner is now starting to look deeply into VMware Cloud. And so what I'd suggest is that you're really interested. VMware have a sizing tool on their webpage. You can go in and you can put in your rudimentary information around CPU, RAM, memory, etc., and get a comparison of what your on-premise platform looks like versus what would look like on VMware Cloud. And there's also, I guess, an opportunity to start reaching out to your AWS account manager or VMware account manager, and we'll both come and have a chat to you and see how we can help you. I hope this quick overview was helpful, and I'll pass on now to Amanda. I hope I haven't eaten too much for time, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Hi, everybody. By way of introduction, my name is Amanda Kiemas. I am the Partner Manager for Windows on AWS out of ASEAN. So today, I actually have a great celebration, and I want you all to celebrate with me. We have been running Windows on AWS for 10 years now. And we have been running Windows on AWS the longest than any other cloud platform provider. So with that, can I please get everybody to raise their 10 fingers so I can take a picture, because it is indeed a celebration. Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, we also clearly see a massive growth in this workload of over 400% growth since 2015 up to 2018. So when we take a look at the growth and the length of what we've been running Windows on AWS, you can clearly see the innovation and the experience that we have in running this workload in AWS. Recently, IDC just came out with an independent study that clearly shown that there are more Windows workload on AWS in comparison to the next public cloud provider by almost double. So this is a great indication of how many of you, our customers today, are running their Windows workload in AWS today. So with that, 90% of AWS innovation and product launches are from the customers. So we continually innovate on this platform, and we continually hear from you with regards to the kind of innovation that we have. So these are the couple of things that we have been innovating on, and by no means I'm going to go deep dive in all of them, but I do want to show you the breadth of services that we can run for Windows on AWS. The first one is definitely in the areas of Windows Server and EC2, ranging all the way into legacy applications such as Windows Server 2003. The second is on SQL. Recently, we have also just launched SQL Server on Linux, which is growing very healthily and steadily in its adoption. We are equally have also been innovating in areas of .NET and containers, giving you a full spectrum of innovation on Windows on AWS platform. But in line with our 10 years anniversary of running Windows on AWS, can you guess how many innovation we have just launched in the last reInvent in 2018? Yes, you got it right. We launched 10 new innovation on Windows and AWS in areas and its experiences, migration and modernization, and also integration with your current existing services. You would be keen to see some of these innovations are very relevant to you today in areas such as the SQL Server migration tool, also Azure to AWS migration tool, and one that could be interesting to you are products like AWS License Manager that really enables you to not only manage across your hybrid environment licenses, but also give you the capability to enforce license limit. Now, in the areas of developers, we have equally been innovating on your behalf. So for .NET, and if you're a developer, if you can see in the experience of build, deploy, and run, we have Cloud Development Kit for .NET, and clearly shown further innovations in container services such as Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and also Amazon Fargate. Now, further on, you can take your innovation into the next stage by using AWS Lambda, should you want to go serverless as well. So when you take a look at moving your licenses, your Windows licenses into AWS, there are multiple means which you can do so by looking at licenses with software assurance or without software assurance. But we wanna be able to also clearly tell you that you can also maximize your licensing benefits when you move your Windows workload into AWS, and also report and manage those licenses with the AWS License Manager. And by any chance, if you run into issues in which you need support on in your Windows on AWS platform, you can contact AWS support to resolve and escalate these issues, and often or not, we will also work with Microsoft to resolve this issue for you. Now, there's nothing like listening to one of our customers with regards to them saving up to 30% of their SQL licenses when they move it into the AWS. I want to show you our customers, which is Xero.
Accounting platform. So we're really about trying to enable small businesses to complete their accounting requirements quickly and efficiently. So we did a migration onto AWS in 2016. We decided to build our own SQL platform based on EC2. One of the things moving on to EC2 is we needed to be aware of our SQL Server licensing, as you do with any provider really. And there were a number of options available to us. We started off with dedicated instances, but settled very quickly on dedicated hosts when we realised that we would rather pay for the physical core licensing rather than the virtual core licensing option when licensing SQL Server. Using the EC2 platform gives us a lot of flexibility around spinning up to cope with demand. So when those businesses need to complete end-of-year tax requirements, we can scale our platform up as appropriate to assist them with that. We had about 500 application servers running in our previous hosting provider, and we were able to shift on to 5,000 in the new environment. That really allowed us to focus on right-sizing those application servers, so we could have a lot larger number of smaller application servers, which again really helped with our scaling story. The migration enabled us to save about 30% on our SQL Server licensing costs, and that should really be considered against the background of the fact that we're always growing. So we're able to reduce our licensing costs and continue to support growth of our customer base during that time. And I think that's a really compelling story.